Now we have our first match of the last chance qualifier. So
Alright.
it will consist of 16 three-way melees with 2 robots each that did not quite qualify for the upper bracket, and each robot which was defeated in round 1. Gridman just narrowly avoided qualifying for the upper bracket, unfortunately, so he's got a real chip on his shoulder. With Social Parasite being defeated quite handily by Calypso. Gridman is, well, trying to avoid that big disc of Sunfire. Almost kind of flips him towards the pit and Uda area. Tries to still angle him over towards that pit, but here comes Social Parasite. The big ram with those 4 spikes on that spiked wedge. Now, though, he's getting angled towards that pit. All 3 robots kind of playing with fire here. Or rather, 2 of them are trying to avoid Sunfire, who gets a solid hit on some of the, I think mostly aesthetic armor there on Gridman. But, oh, that armor certainly isn't just sacrificial, as Sunfire just tears into the side of Gridman, who's unfortunately kind of locked here with Social Parasite. With that pin on Social Parasite, both robots will want to escape from the wrath of the big blade Sunfire, and he just takes another big bite out of the back of Gridman. He might want to focus his attention onto the threat here instead of bullying poor Social Parasite. More and more armor is just sheared off of Gridman. And finally fighting back against the culprit. Oh god, my ears.
What?
There's a high-pitched whine very suddenly for some reason, but Social Parasite's fighting back here and trying to eliminate what looks like the big threat of Sunfire, but Gridman continues his bullying and might end up just pushing both his opponents down into the pit. Now we have 3 very differently styled horizontal spinners here. Harvester,
Ooh, yeah,
being ranked 16th, was the first victim of the pit, falling to Blackwing. Harvester taking on all opposition at the moment. He's really focused in on Roulette, but now turning to face Cacophony. Roulette right back into the fray, but his bar-styled spinner isn't really seeming to reach full speed. Which, the same cannot be said for Harvester, who connects with a hefty blow onto the back of Roulette. Roulette, though, pushing back on Cacophony. Cacophony spins away, but gets the big chunk torn out of it by Harvester. Cacophony strikes back, though, and manages to send Harvester into the center of the arena with that angled disc. Harvester connects once more. Trying to find a difficult angle of attack here for a good hit onto Cacophony, but has definitely done so now. Will want to fend off Roulette, who now finally looks up to speed and is punishing Cacophony. Oh, and Cacophony is decapitated. I'm not sure by who, but Cacophony looks to almost be somewhat of an odd lifter clamp. Roulette kind of awkwardly positioned on top of Harvester. Harvester will try to spin around, but is now met with the wedge of Cacophony. Neither of these three machines are really showing a great deal of control here, especially not Roulette. Harvester seems a bit sluggish, but, well, that can't really be said for the weapon, which has been spinning at max velocity all match, ripping more out of Cacophony as Roulette, unfortunately, oh, well, I thought he was going to cash out there, but he hangs on by a sheer roll of the dice, it seems like. My goodness, he will not stop spinning though. Cacophony angling Harvester over towards the pit. It's all he really can do in this state. Harvester will be a tough machine to fit down there, but Blackwing showed that it certainly is possible. Well, these two machines duke it out. Roulette really wants to find himself back on his feet again, but can't seem to manage. Cacophony is just taking more punishment. Worst possible position. Harvester is absolutely reaping Cacophony, whose tournament's hopes have really been dashed here. Roulette may have finally found his footing and will want to strike Harvester while he has a chance. Instead, will mostly just connect with Cacophony there. Roulette, finally, a good hit against Harvester. Seems to have done some damage. Harvester, I don't think it's moving anymore. This could be a massive shock if Roulette could, well, that isn't quite the route that I personally would have taken to attack Cacophony, but he seems to arrive there nonetheless. He's trying to push Cacophony in towards that pit as we have a surprise victory. Now we have
the weapon framework, so no promises.
We've got the 8th seed of Son of Terrorbite immediately taking a big flip from Coriolis. He's now having to fend off another spinner in Queen. Striking back is Son of Terrorbite with a hefty collision on the front of Coriolis. Seems preoccupied with Queen. Coriolis takes another heavy hit on the side there.
I get it. It works.
Holding together so far, but finally that spinner of Queen connects and Coriolis is in trouble now. Son of Terrorbite does manage to get a good hit in on the back tire of Queen. He's gearing up for another one. Surgically slammed, but unfortunately throws himself all around the arena as Queen just rips apart Coriolis. Son of Terrorbite manages to gain control of himself again, and now is going after the other left wheel of Queen. He takes a big flip from Coriolis. The Terrorbite, a glancing blow. I think he may have done some damage to Queen. Oh my goodness. Coriolis still showing some life despite taking colossal damage. Pushing back against Son of Terrorbite and pins him up against the wall, but Queen, well, he might be able to hold off Son of Terrorbite, but he can't hold off Queen, who now shoves both opponents down into the pit. None of the robots who have fallen from the upper bracket have managed to survive the last chance qualifier quite yet. We'll see if SDB becomes the first robot to do so. Starting off strong, almost manages to flip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the arena, but does successfully overturn both the horizontal or the vertical spinners it has been matched up against. Might have difficulties getting Phlogiston over the high wall as the other vertical spinner comes in for its aid, but it's just slammed against the wall and manages to, well, avoid the initial strike, but now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is coming after Phlogiston with a heavy hit. Almost sends it right over that high wall. SDB comes back in, but doesn't get the good exchange of that slam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is now commanding more of a presence in the arena, tossing Phlogiston all over the box. SDB tries to angle over for a flip, but doesn't quite do it perfectly. Now on the second attempt is able to cleanly flip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out to be the first flipper to accomplish so. We of course saw Hurricane 3 manage to do that earlier, and SDB will see if he can do the same against Phlogiston. Phlogiston getting dangerously close to that arena spinner. Will be happy to avoid the UDA, but SDB will take the damage points where it can, throwing him right into that spinner, causing some more damage. SDB has to be careful with his flipper. Phlogiston does manage to deal a bunch of damage to it. SDB maybe a little bit too aggressive there, wanting to flip Phlogiston over that arena wall, and he's going to suffer because of it. A huge hit from Phlogiston sends SDB back, but he's still getting under that wedge quite cleanly with each strike. Now it's more of a matter of how much can SDB sustain here, as he is taking a lot of damage from these successive strikes. But right now it's mostly a defensive game. Really wants to avoid that big spinner from landing on him like that, as he goes for the high wall option instead. SDB trying his luck with a different side of the arena. Gets Phlogiston pinned up against that wall, but with the damage he's taken to his flipper, he's going to struggle getting him over. He might not need to, though. Phlogiston might be... Nope. Before he quite gains full control, SDB throws him into the hammer. Hammer doesn't connect cleanly, though. Well, not to Phlogiston at least. SDB will ram itself into it, and then try once more with the hammer. No, not quite able to control himself. Keeps taking several hits, and a potentially punishing blow between the hammer and Phlogiston. SDB trying to get around Phlogiston now, and does so successfully. Still trying to get him over the arena wall, but is struggling to do so. Oh, almost secures himself a win. But Phlogiston just holding on. SDB gets away for now and pushes Phlogiston back up against that wall. Is he stuck? No, he is able to get away. So now SDB trying to get around him once again, does not want to risk Phlogiston getting underneath SDB, as he shows good control. Oh, and a massive hit delivered by SDB. SDB has to be careful not to sustain damage himself, though, as he gets away safely from that arena spinner and onto the backside of Phlogiston, who gets carried into that big spinner again. 30 seconds remaining. we could see our first judge's decision, but SDB getting the most air we've seen so far, just tossing Phlogiston up into the air. Now would be a good position to get him over, but still the damage sustained earlier, making it difficult for SDB to finish Phlogiston off. SDB knocks into him again. Is going to miss somewhat. He kind of gets Phlogiston caught up in the hammer. At least Phlogiston can't hurt SDB from up there. 10 seconds remaining. SDB tries once more. Oh, brutal slam into that hammer. As Phlogiston sustains even more damage from SDB. And finally, for the first time this tournament, we will have judge's decision, but I'll be honest, I think it's going to be a pretty easy decision.
It took this long? Oh, is Rob in the text?
Is Rob the robot here?
Yeah.
Then yes.
Is Robo? Yeah.
Oh, Rob, yeah. So, we have a triple spinner melee here. This one probably won't go to judge's decision if I had to guess.
I have a sneaking suspicion you're right.
Fractured Diamond kind of out of commission for the time being, as Who and RTLX both go weapon on weapon. 2 is winning the control game here, as RTLX gets thrown. Okay. 2 delivering a huge hit to RTLX, but we'll have to watch out for Fractured Diamond. Fractured Diamond is finally decided to join us once more. In fact, well, now is the only horizontal spinner left in this melee. 2, the good follow-up hit, and is just trying to finish off RTLX while Fractured Diamond does its business on the other end of the arena. RTLX, not a whole lot left for him to do. It's kind of just getting bullied by 2. Ugh. Delivers another nasty blow, and will now share some of the pain with Fractured Diamond. Fractured Diamond manages to gain control of itself again, and comes back with a strong strike onto 2. Sends 2 flying into the hammer, and I think may have disabled that weapon. Fractured Diamond suddenly with the upper hand here. A little bit similarly to what we saw with Roulette's surprise victory. Oh, another huge hit by Fractured Diamond onto RTLX, and it's just going to be a 1v1 from here on, but 2 not in a great position. He does have that big wedge to work with, but oh, Fractured Diamond, surgical precision, takes off one of those wheels and the impotent flywheel to boot. 2 takes a big hit onto that big weapon support. Fractured Diamond has collected itself well. Its only real threat is to kind of deflect off of the wedge like it just has and end up getting itself into a poor position. 2 is attempting to angle Fractured Diamond towards that hammer. Probably the best way it has now to deal any damage to Fractured Diamond, who's been looking relatively spotless. Fan favorite Purple and Green gets a shot here to make a loser's run, along with the Black and Purple. And Focus Operandi is really looking for revenge after his unfortunate and probably controversial defeat in the upper bracket after starting out strong. He's so far kind of been sizing up his attacks. Will connect heartily with purple and green there. It just goes right back at fight or flight. Fight or flight manages to get underneath Bogus Operandi, delivering a big hit. Bogus Operandi taking some punishment now. Fight or flight directs its attention to that big spinner. Purple and green continues whacking away at the top of fight or flight. Not sure if it's really been able to do a whole lot with those unique weapons yet, but neither has that big spinner of Bogus Operandi quite yet. Looks like the mace was knocked off by the drum of fight or flight, who's now choosing to fight against Bogus Operandi, while purple and green takes his own fight against the spinner. Purple and green taking a lot of damage so far. We know it's quite a durable machine, but that has its limits, as Bogus Operandi has continuously slammed the side of purple and green, taking away one of its wheels. Fight or flight trying to self-right here, uses its self-righter to success, goes right back after purple and green. Bogus Operandi, kind of an awkward hit there, will bounce right back into the fight. Purple and green in a bad position here. Fight or flight backing off for now and directing its attention towards the more sinister seeming machine of the bunch, knocking off one of those spikes on the side of fight or flight. Bogus Operandi now finding its way in between its two opponents and is now being fed purple and green by fight or flight, who takes a big hit going weapon on weapon with Bogus Operandi. Both robots seem to have accrued some damage from it. Fight or flight not backing down though, continuing to attack Bogus Operandi. Bogus Operandi really wants to find its feet here, but is just getting continuously spun by fight or flight. And Bogus Operandi now finding its way over to that big hammer. Both of the spinners now being pushed in by purple and green. Can't forget about him as he's still alive. Battered, bruised, but still mobile. Trying to escape fight or flight now. We'll take some big hits on the underside there. Bogus Operandi struggling to find any room on the arena floor here, as fight or flight unfortunately finally finishes off purple and green. Now the two spinners locked together. Bogus Operandi takes a massive hit from fight or flight, who sends Bogus Operandi flying. Bogus Operandi almost packed his bags and left the arena. Under a minute remaining now. Bogus Operandi in a very bad position with continuous punishment, not only from the drum of fight or flight, but from the arena as well. I'm not sure if Bogus Operandi has any mobility remaining. This fight or flight is just relentless in its pursuit. Bogus Operandi does connect weapon on weapon, I believe, with fight or flight once again, but fight or flight getting the better of that exchange, to be sure. Bogus Operandi barely operable at this point. Managed to turn Fighter Flight over for a moment, but with that Srimech, no problem for him. Does so once more. Bogus Operandi backs into that big spinner. Fighter Flight struggling to self-right. Gets a little bit difficult when that drum gets into the mix as well. We'll count down the final 10 seconds here. Fighter Flight almost certainly... Oh, well... Actually, I believe he just took out that final wheel of Bogus Operandi, so he'll be credited with the KO there. We'll have a little bit more friendly fire here with Max Power and Bad Nerves both being made by Wen. The Bubblegum Fabulous being the odd man out, but again, there's no favoritism being shown at all, with Bad Nerves going right after Max Power. Distributing it to Bubblegum Fabulous as well, though, by shoving it back into that big hammer. Max Power living up to his namesake once again, forcing Bubblegum Fabulous back into the wall. Oh, it looked like it was gonna beat him up to its teammate in Bad Nerves, but instead Bad Nerves takes a big bite out of one of Max Power's wheels first before heading after Bubblegum Fabulous. Max Power getting hooked by the hammer for a moment. That was interesting. Bad Nerves is grinding away at the underside of Max Power. Oh, Max Power with a huge slam onto Bubblegum Fabulous. And now it's just when-on-when violence for, well, however long this lasts. Bad Nerves almost being slung into the pit. Bad Nerves spinning around again. Bad Nerves trying to angle a flip out of the arena. It's kind of an awkward design to be able to topple a robot out from this position. Max Power largely, well, relies on its power to get the momentum to get a robot over the arena wall, like so. Instead, though, it just flings itself into that spinner and is rightfully respecting that other spinner from its teammate. Gets underneath Bad Nerves, who hasn't really been able to get underneath Max Power, who just throws Bad Nerves across the floor, doing what he does best. I try to angle him towards the pit or the low OODA wall next. Bad Nerves popped up into the air, taken close to that wall, but takes a detour into the hammer. Both bots will take a glancing blow off of that as Max Power gears up for another strike, maybe. Now angling him over to that wall, and perfect hit. And unfortunately, we have three of my favorite robots all together at once. And well, I'm sure most of your favorite robot is being sent through the air right now, and is unfortunately struggling to right itself on its back. Crasp Drone takes the opportunity to focus his attention on the Maw, getting shoved across the arena, taking some real punishment. Oh, okay.
Finally.
That was going to be really annoying, but we will have a potentially lengthy 1v1 between these two vertical spinners. Oh! Well, maybe if it keeps going the way they've been so far, it won't be a lengthy duel here. This Crasp Drone, too, just continues to throw the Maw around the arena. That big disc hasn't done a ton of damage yet, but the Maw doesn't want to, doesn't want to take its durability for granted, especially not in the position that it's in now. Taking some disgusting hits from that hammer. As, oh no, Crasp Drone 2 had gyros right into harm's way again, but collects itself, goes right back after the maw, takes even more punishment, cartwheeling through the air from the successive combos of Crasp Drone 2 again. The maw almost seemed like it had a potential opportunity to get those forks underneath Crasp Drone 2 again, but not quite. Kind of just rides up the side of it and back into the blender. Crasp Drone 2 continuing to juggle the maw, and at this point you really have to wonder which hit from the Crasp Drone 2 will finally be that final blow on the maw. Unless the maw can get some good hits here, it's just all been Crasp Drone 2 again.
Crazy how a bunch of remakes of older bots end up being some of the most successful works. At least for a while.
Yeah, I mean, Crasp Drone 2 again has started in the lower bracket, but is just taken full control over this fight. And then, of course, its brother Hurricane 3 is the third seed and won its first fight quite dominantly.
It is still a little bittersweet since these weren't designs I came up with, just rejuvenated.
Yeah. But I mean, if there's any fight or if there's any tournament to kind of restore those old designs, this would be the one. As the maw.
Thanks.
Oh, gets thrown out of the arena. Maybe the most merciful defeat it could have hoped for in that position. Whoopsies, cameraman's drunk. And we got yet another instance of friendly fire here with the two Horo robots. I'm sure you can tell which ones are the teammates from the design alone versus the big drum of Fatherless. Immediately, Fatherless is dishing out some punishment onto the back of Yellowheart, and it's doing the Fatherless thing and getting stuck on its front. So that'll leave the two teammates to duke it out in the corner. With Yellowheart looking very tentative out there. Kind of ends up just landing right on the drum of Fatherless. Maybe wanted to take it for a ride into the pit, but instead, oh, it's just going to get stuck between its two opponents. Iglima, every time that hammer connects, you just feel the weight of it as it lands another one onto the top of Yellowheart. Yellowheart showing a lot of durability, also taking some grinding from Fatherless. Common occurrence in the club, Fatherless grinding. As Fatherless takes a big hit there onto Iglima. And Fatherless stuck on its front once again. May have benefited from some more asymmetrical wedgelets as both machines kind of get thrown across there, tangled together. It's Iglima's teammate will attempt to right it here. Well, Fatherless keeps attacking, but and the flipper is looking a bit weak, but there we go. Iglima's finally managed to get oriented properly. And there goes the D. God, what the fuck? Oh, fucking Christ. I just get back to absolute slammage. I put on a pot of tea because I am falling asleep. My retard neighbors have a critical illness known as not ever being able to shut the fuck up. So, unfortunate when people got shit to do, but, you know, like, commentate a riveting battle of what the fuck is happening? I don't even... I'm not sure how well the sounds pick up right now, but I feel like it reflects what's happening very well. I mean, what do you even say about this? God, I hope I don't have to judge this. What the... Well, I mean, how the fuck am I supposed to deal with... Whatever. Iglima, can you, like, stop hammering yourself, or... I mean, have you, like, taken hits to your weapon as well, or your drive as well? Fatherless is, well, making Tony Stewart proud with the laps it's doing around the arena. Yellowheart is actually, fighting. Allegedly flipped its teammate for a moment there and was trying to carry it over towards the pit, but instead will, just kind of flip it against the wall now. That is such a sad lifter, my god. I just saw like a video of like an asshole turtle that kept just like headbutting a cat, and that's like kind of what it looks like when Yellowheart is like trying to attack its teammate. This is just... Okay. Well, getting him under that hammer now. And toppled over, but the bright side to taking so much damage is now Iglima's hammer doesn't weigh like, you know, 25 kilos or whatever. Well, no, it'd be a lot more than that. Wait, 25? Gee, I'm getting my fucking measurements mixed up, whatever. I'm tired. This fight has been a crash out moment, and I need to watch this back later to somehow judge this shit, because, like, bruh. The judging criteria, once again, are based on damage and aggression for 5 points each, control for 3, and style for 2. So, yep, one of these robots will win somehow. Yep. GG. Alright, I lied. I told Tommy that he only has 2 robots left, but he has better Shredderator here. So he has potential to have 3 robots still in the competition after this. But the 2 flippers, one being Wen's flipper, I don't know what the fuck the name is supposed to mean. But we also have a Mist Continent representative, which surprisingly finds its way into the bottom portion of the bracket here. The highest seed to find itself in this position at a 7th. At a fairly dominant qualifying run, but it's gonna need a loser's bracket run of legendary proportions. And it all starts here. And although these 2 opponents of Mist Continent Representative are both starting in the losers bracket. They both pose their own potential hurdles. Right now, not a whole lot has happened quite yet, except for that big combo hit with a better Shredder and the Wens Flipper potentially finding the big threat, and they could have just eliminated it right here. By teaming up together, they've managed to take out the number 7 seed, getting double first rounded in an absolute shock. Sure, disappointing many, unfortunately. But better Shredder and WDRFP will continue battling here to see who moves on past this last chance qualifier. Better Shredder in a bad position, though. I'm not sure if how massive this machine is goes against or in favor of Wens Flipper in terms of managing to get it out of the arena. I mean, it's sure winning the wedge game, which is sort of step one that any flipper wants. But with how unstable Better Shredder is, how large, we'll just have to see if Wens Flipper has enough power to get it over, if it doesn't just settle for that instead. Alright, a full Flipper frenzy here with Karma Police, Anthracite, who unfortunately has found its way into the lower bracket, and Daisy Bell. Daisy Bell trying to escape the law, but unfortunately the law catches up to her. Anthracite trying to sweep up the pieces there, but elects to instead just steer Daisy Bell into the hammer. Poor Daisy Bell getting ganged up on. Oh, but Karma Police takes a hit as well and found itself kind of jammed here. Ends up pushing through, using all 6 wheels there, and Daisy Bell finds its way on its front. And considering the design of all these robots, it should be able to land on all 4 feet there. But it's still just kind of pinned between the 2 opponents of Anthracite and Karma Police. Karma Police finally is the target of Anthracite. Sent hurtling through the air, but they're all kind of just laying in the clump once again. Daisy Bell turned over. Its self-righting is interrupted by a pig flying. Anthracite follows up, tossing Daisy Bell into the air. Anthracite now maneuvering Karma Police over towards the arena wall. Tries to hoist him over, doesn't get a great flip there. What's happening with Daisy Bell? Daisy Bell trying desperately to land on its wheels, but it's kind of stuck on its tail, which is strange. I would have thought the tail would kind of help this exact situation not happen. Tails are meant to stabilize cats after all. But, Karma Police sure getting hurtled across the arena by Anthracite. Managing to hang on, though, at least for now. Anthracite is trying to line them up. And finally, Daisy Bell manages to get itself out of that conundrum with a huge strike. Unfortunately, the force was spread between both the rear hinge flippers, so it wasn't able to get enough on it to pop either of them out of the arena. Daisy Bell now kind of riding up the side wedge of Anthracite. This Karma Police with a swing and a miss on the back of Anthracite. It's difficult for any of these robots to really get a strong UDA attempt, considering all 3 of them have kind of been clumped together most of the fight. at least except for the momentary struggles that Daisy Bell was encountering, and fortunately might be back to encountering. Car Police, big slam against Anthracite, but Anthracite somehow survives that. I thought for sure at least Anthracite was going to be flung into the pit there. But looks like they'll all be carried over to the hammer again. Anthracite already taken some damage from it. I believe Daisy Bell soaked up the brunt of that one, though. Car Police, ooh, a huge flip. Wants to settle down a bit to be able to effectively self-right. As Daisy Bell lands on Anthracite. Car Police immediately back onto Anthracite. But Daisy Bell having some troubles again. Car Police, drunk driving, and Anthracite trying to get off of that arena wall. Finally does so. Here comes Car Police once again, hurling Anthracite across the arena. Might actually offer some assistance to Daisy Bell, only for them to be angled towards the pit. Car Police must be careful itself, lest it be flipped into the pit by Anthracite. Daisy Bell might finally get finished off here, and there she goes, tumbling into the pit. Now, 50 seconds remaining to see if we can settle this score against Anthracite and Car Police. These two machines definitely been the two most engaging and aggressive machines that were in this three-way melee. But as things are laid out so far, it might be a bit tricky to decide if it actually goes the full distance. Anthracite in a prime position to end it off now. Doesn't have enough energy on that flip to get Car Police over the railing. But for now, it'll settle for just controlling the pace of this fight. Not allowing Car Police to get those 6 wheels onto the ground, because we know it has the power to slam Anthracite around, as it has done already. Anthracite seeming to win the wedge battle, and does again. That might have been, well, Car Police's last big chance to get a huge slam in on Anthracite and score some points for the judges, because otherwise I think Anthracite is just going to keep him close, try to pin him down, and play a more defensive game, preventing Karma Police from getting a big slam on, sending Karma Police sky high, though, as we head on over to this high wall. 10 seconds remaining for either of these robots to make a big impression with the judges. Karma Police trying to slam back again. Is able to get under him, but nothing really comes out of that engagement, and we will have to go to a judge's decision, and this might be a relatively close one. Alright, after a disappointing qualifier's mean streak, trying to prove he deserves to be in contention here, and immediately attacking Sleepwalk, dealing some potentially heavy damage here, but Colin, after getting knocked down from the upper bracket, is looking hungry. All 3 robots kind of jammed together in a pile here, though. And, need some separation here. Guess Colin just wants to keep pushing with those 2 big wheels. Almost gets around the back mean streak and starts working on those rear wheels. As Sleepwalk is righted. Sleepwalk struggling to get underneath mean streak. It just rips a chunk out of him. Sleepwalk then, takes even more punishment. The huge hit delivered courtesy of the hammer. I believe, yep, Sleepwalk has also lost a wheel. Unfortunately, these 2 machines have decided to gang up on Sleepwalk, with the brunt of the assault being due to Mean Streak, really living up to his name. Despite the lackluster performance in qualifiers, he's sure dominating these last chance qualifiers, as he once again rips a jaw off of Colin. Colin with some glancing blows on those wheels. That's, well, if there's one path to victory for him, it might be that. Could also be damaging that deadly weapon of Mean Streak, as it looks like part of the weapon has been clobbered off. Mean Streak has got to be careful here, as that weapon, of course, is... Oh, Mean Streak with a huge hit. After being brutalized by Thought Contagion in the first round of the upper bracket, Photon Melodies is back for more. We'll face off against the punching drum of Starstruck and the axe and plow of Bot at Work. God, that weapon of Starstruck is just so loud. And, well, we'll see how effective it is after that huge slam onto the back of Photon Melodies. Photon Melodies, the front hinge flipper, trying to self-right from this position, but takes another hit from that hammer, as does Bot at Work. Bot at Work coming in again, perhaps a swing. No, instead it'll just watch as Photon Melodies gets strewn all across the floor. I thought maybe could have ended up over the arena wall there. It kind of just pins Starstruck. And might almost end up helping Photon Melodies here. But in the meantime, goes directly weapon on weapon with Starstruck. Now attacking that soft underbelly of Starstruck. We'll have a 1v1 here in just a moment between Starstruck and Bot at Work. I can't recall if we have any other hammers still in contention, but Bot at Work, well, continuing to go weapon on weapon. Kind of a matter of which weapon holds on longer. That strange poking drum of Starstruck or the big axe of Bot at Work, and I presume we'll be finding our answer soon. And that answer is the big axe of Bot at Work, but for some reason Bot at Work just doesn't have the traction to get away from that hammer. So we'll have to be careful here lest it lose some functionality itself. Otherwise, Bot at Work just trying to cause some damage with that axe. We'll see just how damaging it can be, as it knocks away more of that little puncher, which has been, relegated to a flick at best. Bot at Work just continuing to hold and hammer away at Starstruck, who seems to be upended on its own debris. Or maybe just having some drive problems overall. No, there it was. There was a little piece of debris stuck under it. Now it's free to attack back at Bot at Work. Of course, weaponless, but still has a powerful drive and will try to make something of it. Bot at Work manages to slip away. We'll try to get that axe into play again. Is able to once more get underneath Starstruck, and will continue hatcheting away at the little deformed chassis of Starstruck. Just under a minute left, and well, with the way things are going, I'm not sure if we're gonna need the full minute. Starstruck has held up pretty well so far, at least the armor of it, but don't think it can take much more punishment here, as Bot at Work will advance and try to see if it can make a surprise lower bracket run. Alright, we got some friendly fire action here with two Moz machines of Tilcum and Stain Your Coma versus the launcher of Quanta, of Renegade. Showing up the diversity of this tournament with 3 different weapon types. But unfortunately, Tilcum seems to be caught in the middle of everything after being sent down into the loser's bracket by Vlad the Penetrator. Renegade takes a hefty hit right to the front of, by courtesy of Stain Your Coma, who immediately gets thrusted in by Tilcum Arc. Stain Your Coma might be stuck there against the wall. We'll see if he can fire the axe to free itself. Otherwise, Tilcum is in trouble here, stuck in that corner. Combined flip between the launcher of Renegade and that big arena spinner, almost spinning itself right out of the arena, but Stain Your Coma is back and tries to target that left tread of Renegade. Renegade, definitely a beefy boy, but he's taken a lot of damage already. As Stain Your Coma gets a good, strong hit underneath that flipper. Tilcum, though, gotta be careful, not very well controlled as he careens back into the hammer once again. Speaking of hammer, Stain Your Coma is working overtime, but gets launched right into that spinner of Tilcum. Renegade seeming to find creative ways of dealing some damage to the other opponents, but he's probably sustained the most out of all 3. Good defensive push from Renegade against Stain Your Coma. He's going to try to flip him out of the arena here, but just misses the flip, and Stain Your Coma will stay alive. Although it takes some damage from that arena spinner, and then gets the spinner of Tilcum thrown right into him. Tilcum once again getting tossed into the arena hazards, but is staying together a lot better than it did in its fight against Vlad the Penetrator. Stain Your Coma kind of wildly winging away, not connecting with a whole lot here. That big flip of Renegade sure connects, though, as he tries once more to flip Stain Your Coma out and over that wall, but it'll get away and will continue to sustain damage from Tilcum. The tribe holding together well so far, but unfortunately the same cannot be said about that flipper, as Stain Your Coma knocks away a big part of it. But unfortunately, that'll just be a little bit too much for Renegade, as Tilcum deals the finishing blow. Now it'll just be a 1v1 between the axe of Stain Your Coma and that spinning tri-bar of Tilcum, who breaks off part of that wedge. Tilcum spinning dangerously close to the pit. He's taking, oh, I think he's ripped the hammer off of Stain Your Coma, so Stain Your Coma now, all he really has left is to try to shove Tilcum down into that pit, but as long as Stain Your Coma, well, as long as Tilcum, rather, can avoid that fate, he should come away with a win here, be it via KO or judge's decision, but he's getting baited closer and closer to that pit. I have to be careful here. Stain Your Coma just trying to figure out a way how to angle him down there, but Stain Your Coma is running out of options here. Tilcum not really showing much control during this fight, but you don't need to be too well controlled, I suppose, when you can just deal as much damage as it has. It looks like it will come down to the judge's decision here, but with the amount of punishment that Tilcom has been able to deal during this fight, I think it will probably go to him. Although stay in your coma with one last shove towards Tilcom to try to score some points in the judge's favor. We got the two very similar vertical spinners against that big axe of Berserker 3. Right off the bat, Scrapper absolutely bullying Berserker 3 before turning his attention to Tanimura. Berserker 3 with a huge run back after Scrapper, with Tanimura kind of just caught in the middle of everything. Berserker yet to connect with that big hammer quite yet. Now coming weapon on weapon onto Scrapper with the two big red verts on either side. Tanimura trying to just nip away at the back here, but with that big swing of the axe, Scrapper will free itself. Scrapper kind of taking on all comers here before facing back towards Tanimura, flipping him into that big drum. Oh, before Berserker 3 with a brutal swing right onto Tanimura. Scrapper definitely looking the strongest out of the three so far, as he just rips apart Tanimura. We'll have to be careful here with a big shove by Berserker 3, tossing him into that spinner and continuing to bully Tanimura for some reason. But now Scrapper's getting underneath Berserker 3, and Tanimura is still alive, surprisingly. But Scrapper finally setting his sights on Berserker 3, who's trying to get around Scrapper and avoid that big vertical spinner, who's been extremely destructive so far. Now, though, Berserker 3's lined up an opportunity to go straight between that spinning drum and try to deal some damage to that spinner, maybe knock it offline. What the fuck? Oh, I see. But, so yeah, after reviewing the footage, Berserker 3 will move on because of, well, the first time it needed a restart, it was also the beneficiary of it, and I believe the havoc was caused by, well, a mix of the two red machines. Not to be confused with the two red machines that are currently going toe-to-toe, which is Rip City and the Resident Cube of HFT, Bloodshot 2. I always want to say Bloodsport, but that is not, that's a different vert. It was Bloodsport a vert? I can't remember. Anyways.
Bloodsport was an overhead horizontal.
Yeah, I for some reason I get Bloodsport mixed up with Uppercut a lot. Speaking of Uppercut, fucking Hybrid Minded is taking a bunch of them from Rip City. Well, Bloodsport 2 is kind of doing its own Bloodsport 2 things. Rip City living up to its name.
The hinges there on the tri-bar were definitely a choice.
There are a lot of interesting choices with Hybrid Minded, that is for sure.
Like, I don't hate the concept of the weapon itself, but the flails are just too frail.
How do you feel about that Shreemech?
The fact that the Shreemech includes the weapon, no bueno. I would have rather it been something like Ursula, where it's just like an arm that is part of the overhead mechanism.
Oh,
and Rip City pits itself.
Okay, fun fact, this kind of bullshit is pretty much the reason why I needed to do a restart in the beginning. So now we have another restart. It's awesome.
Because people don't put hazard detection in their AI lines.
Yes.
Either that or the game doesn't count pits as a hazard. Does the game count pits as a hazard?
I believe so, but at any rate, the first beneficiary of the first restart was hybrid-minded. The second one was Rip City. So if it, you know, if the AI fucks up again, and you know, it'll be restart 3. But hybrid-minded being the beneficiary of the first stupid mishap, and then Bloodshot 2 being the beneficiary of the second dumb mishap. So hopefully we'll have a good, clean fight here.
Oh, no, I want this fight to get messy. There needs to be parts all over the arena.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it'll come down to that. Rip City just got sniped by Bloodshot 2, so there's the first piece to fall
There's
there.
the first blood.
Yeah, first blood indeed. But,
Are you recording this on like 30 FPS or something like that? The game looks like it's going pretty slow.
It is on 30 FPS, yes, but afterward it will be on 60 FPS, and then also apparently this arena just lags a lot, so yeah.
Well, there goes another flail.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was the... Oh, there's finally a good hit there onto the side of Rip City, but unfortunately its weapon doesn't spin too fast. Oh.
Oh, what the fuck?
Alright!
But also, Bloodshot's weapon split as well, so,
Yeah, so it's gonna be a 1v2, or a fucking 1v1 between these, these two horizontals. Rip City.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh god, oh god, oh god. What the hell?
So,
this is so cursed.
Unfortunately, that Havoc is the fault at this point of... Well, I think you can all guess which one is causing the Havocs at this point.
Oh, you mean the thing that brought flails onto a spinner?
Yeah.
There's a reason why we don't allow axle hinges to have be used for wedges.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, it's like, if the Havoc is... It works against the person using it. It just makes it more
Right.
unstable, so,
Right.
yeah.
How much you want to bet this pulverizer here is actually going to rip off that tri-bar extender? Which,
I mean,
fun fact, those things are not balanced.
yeah, not, there's not a whole lot on hybrid-minded that is balanced, to be honest. Bloodshot
enough.
2 is, I mean, doing its best with that kind of, neutered bar. It doesn't really have a whole lot of reach. It's, I think, most effective right now as a pusher more than anything, but hybrid-minded is just kind of, well, awkward in a lot of ways.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
I'll give you props for that. Did it just crash? I think it crashed.
Bloodshot 2 wins.
Fuck Rip City.